Okay, here's a lesson where I'm going to be animating scale again, just like how I made the tree get bigger. But I'm going to show you guys a formula where you can add a little bit of dynamic movement to make something look a little more interesting. Okay, when I first opened this file, let me mute that audio. Sorry about that. When I first opened this file, you'll see that this text is just getting smaller. Okay, it's consistently getting smaller, and that's because there's two keyframes. At frame 0, it's at 122%, and then at the end of the timeline, it's down to 54%. So it's just consistently getting smaller. What I'm going to introduce now is another way to set keyframes, another way to create these blue diamonds, but it doesn't involve using this stopwatch icon. Okay, the stopwatch icon is a one-time thing. It's really just to activate animation and enable animation on the layer. But if I were to click on it a second time, it would literally just delete all of my animation. So it's kind of like a toggle switch, just like saying, hey, I want to animate. I hit that stopwatch. But if you click it twice, you can accidentally delete all your animation. So it's a little bit dangerous. Anyway, what I'm going to do next is just move my timeline in the middle here. I have this like dubstep audio track here, and what I'll be doing is trying to match some motion to the sound. Let me first just go through the process, and then I'll explain exactly what it is I'm doing. I'm hitting this diamond, and what that does is it just drops a keyframe in there. Then I'm going to use command right arrow to move forward 5 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to use that. I'm going to move my mouse back over and use that same diamond here to drop in my second keyframe, holding command right arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are kind of like markers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what do I mean by markers? Well, what I'm doing is I'm recording the scale at these 5 points in time. I'm just recording the scale there. Okay, but my motion still hasn't changed because I was literally just setting a keyframe for whatever that shrinking value was. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to the first keyframe and move 2 frames back. So I'm holding command and hitting left arrow twice. And because this word was going from big to small, what I'm doing next is I'm going to do something called adding resistance. If I'm trying to prevent something from getting smaller, it means I got to make it bigger. So to add resistance, I'm going to scrub my scale attribute a little bit bigger, and it was just a little bit bigger. You might not even have realized it, but I did see the number go up a little bit. Then I'm going to go 5 frames forward again, holding command 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's where I scrubbed the scale factor a little bit bigger again. And in front of all of those markers that I dropped in front of all those keyframes that I dropped in by using the diamond icon, I am now preceding that keyframe by 2 frames. Okay, I'm going ahead to the left 2 frames, and I'm making the scale a little bit bigger. This is essentially creating some speed bumps in the animation. My original animation was just going from big to small, and I just created some speed bumps interrupting that animation. So when I play it, it's going to look like it's wobbling. Okay, and then of course if I hit this, if I unmute my audio, let me expand my audio so you can clearly see that there is a waveform. There's some audio here, and now when I hit play, this, it's a loud track, and it might sync up, it might not, but let's see how it looks. Okay, it's pretty close to being synced up, but of course I can always drag around all the keyframes and try to make some adjustments and find out exactly when that bass drop comes in. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so here's a formula where we create a wobble effect by dropping in keyframes and then creating resistance. Okay, I'm going to do another example here, very similar. Let's get over to the paragraph tab, and I want to align it to the left. By aligning my text to the left, what it does is it puts the anchor point on the left side. And the reason I wanted that is because I'm going to do the wobble animation formula, but instead of wobbling scale, I'm going to wobble rotation. So let's start by, I'll start tilted up. And then my second keyframe, it's rotated down. So here's my animation. Okay. I'm following the exact same formula. The only difference is I'm dealing with the rotation attribute instead of scale. So here we go. Click on the diamond, command right arrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. Keyframe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Diamond, I'm just dropping in keyframes here. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the first keyframe and precede it by 2 frames. Command left arrow, 1, 2. Let's add resistance. It's trying to rotate downward, so I got to tilt it back to the left, counterclockwise. Adding resistance 2 frames in front of every keyframe that I dropped in. Oh, that might have been a little extreme there. Okay, rotating to the left a little bit. Okay, and let's drag in that audio clip. Okay, representing Naveen K. Check him out on YouTube or Spotify. Move these keyframes back down a little. Okay. Okay, let's let my video card buffer this. Alright, so wobbling is just a formula for animation where you drop in markers, you drop in keyframes, and then you add resistance. Okay, you could apply this formula to many different attributes. I just showed you how to do it with scale and rotation. See if you guys can try that with position or maybe some other attributes like blurriness.